Joining us right now ahead of that is Punchbowl News co-founder Jake Sherman. He's also NBC News political contributor and star of the Washington Post's, I don't know, was it the style section, Jake? That was something. I don't know if you, big profile of Jake last week.
No way.
Yes, he's a rock star. So thank you for
don't
joining.
call him a rock star. You're not allowed to do that. You've seen those commercials.
Why can't you call him a rock star?
You're not allowed to call someone in business a rock star, or Billy Idol's going to come with a chainsaw.
Oh. So Jake, we've got the leader coming on the broadcast in just a little bit. What do you think is going to happen today? What do you know? Tell us everything so we can have a. We're not going to. I don't want to say we're going to grill the leader, but we want to be able to ask him all the right questions, and you're inside it all.
Well, how about Swiftsy? You know, Swift and Kelsey at the end. I like that.
That was one of the options. Swiftsy, C-E, right?
Swiftsy.
Leisman actually also emailed me with that.
He did. Swiftsy might be good because it gives her enough weight in the portmanteau that she deserves.
Right. Yep. Okay, so on to government shutdown. Here's the thing, and I imagine, and I'm going to be watching eagerly, Andrew, your interview with Speaker Johnson in just a little bit, but he is going to be able to pass, most likely, I mean, famous last words, he's going to be able to pass this stopgap funding bill for one basic reason. It's a clean funding bill. It does nothing. It does nothing for Democrats. It does nothing for Republicans. It's just an extension of government funding. It's the exact thing that Kevin McCarthy got booted out for just a couple weeks ago. And listen, what Speaker Johnson will say is that he by passing this bill, which bifurcates government funding, so there's a deadline in January and then another one in February, is that it puts off or prevents the year-end massive spending bill that has become a hallmark of Washington. And that's fair, but we'll see if Republicans actually get anything out of that at all. I mean, there's no guarantee that in January or February they'll be able to cut funding or change policy or do any of the things Republicans want to do. So, listen, I don't think anybody, I mean, this is what people were telling me last night in the Capitol. I don't think anybody thought that Mike Johnson would get elected and he would pass a clean government funding bill. I don't think that was in the cards. I don't think that's what he campaigned on, but that's what he's doing.
It is what it is. He does have a honeymoon, and even some of those guys that in the Freedom Caucus said, you know, it wouldn't be the end of the world if he did this, but we're watching. Or I don't know. They made all kinds of sort of, like little implied threats about the future. Judd Gregg was on yesterday, Jake. He's kind of a reasonable guy, but he's pretty conservative, and he said that it's a big win for Republicans because it freezes things where it is right now, and it avoids that pre-holiday omnibus where just everything in the kitchen sink is thrown in. So if you can get beyond that, but it really does let the speaker is going to have to come back to fight another day, and all the same issues that we're kind of avoiding here are going to be they're going to be raised big time in January and February.
Pick your poison, Joe, right? I mean, yes, it freezes things for a couple months, which I guess is fine. Remember, there's a deal in place on government funding that Kevin McCarthy cut back when he raised the debt ceiling several months ago, which mandated by law spending levels. So here's the bear case on what Johnson's doing. If you think it's a good idea to have 2 shutdown threats in the first quarter of 2024 with Joe Biden's numbers where they are, I can tell you at the White House, they're looking at this and saying, this Republican conference is going to have 2 shutdown threats in the first 2 months of an election year. Now, you could argue around the margins whether shutdowns matter as much as we think they do, and that's a fair argument. But if you think this conference, which is deeply divided between the Freedom Caucus, traditional conservatives, more moderates, if you think that it's a good idea to have 2 shutdown threats in the first quarter of the year, I'm not really sure what the strategy is there. Most speakers, most leaders would say, okay, let's kick this until the end of 2024. I don't get the strategy. But when you pass something like sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
No, if in fact we have a government shutdown, who takes the blame for that or takes the credit for that? Which in this, as we walk into this presidential election, meaning does this benefit President Biden? Does it benefit the former President Trump? Or are they so separated from this situation at this point, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, everyone in Washington besides House Republicans agree on the parameters for spending. The White House, Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, and House Democrats. So House Republicans logically would get the blame. And the idea of government shutdowns is that you shut it down and then the other side gives in when the things get tough. I just don't see that. Never works out, ever. In all of the available evidence we have, that never works out. So not only do you have a shutdown threat this week, you have one in January and in February. And I think that's a very rich
It's like the Crazy Eight and Matt Gaetz. They're much more interested in ousting McCarthy than Biden, which is, I don't know. But that was a weird thing. Here's something that I'm really concerned about. I saw Messina, the Obama guy, write, "Stop worrying about Joe Biden." But then Jake, I have seen the president in some recent appearances, and people can decline relatively quickly when you get to a certain age. And I can't imagine, I'm thinking even leading up to the election, but then think we got 4 more years after that. I think there is reason for concern. I think it could really be the beginning of a decline. And then with Tim Scott out, there could be eventually one viable alternative to Donald Trump. And those early, 2 months to the first primary, I don't know if that's a slam dunk. People think it's 100% both are the nominee. I still think it might be one or the other might not be there, or neither might be there. Is that possible?
I think it's possible, of course. I think Democrats, I can tell you last night at the House vote series, we were catching up with a bunch of House Democrats who are very concerned about the president's numbers and think, quite frankly, that they don't know what's going to turn it around. And that's the scary thing. Dean Phillips isn't the answer. I know people, Republicans, whether they'll say it publicly or not, are hoping Nikki Haley is the answer to this. Because listen, every poll that I've seen has Nikki Haley beating President Biden by a much more significant number than Donald Trump. But listen, usually the most obvious answer is the right answer, and both of these people are probably going to be the nominee. But there are concerns, obviously, about both of them. And by the way, Speaker Johnson still has not endorsed, to my knowledge, Donald Trump. So that is a very interesting dynamic you might want to bring up with him in a little bit.